Adjutant online. Building registry.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another StarCraft 2 GGvision Colosseum with me, Sebastian Sjöberg. Today is Friday and I got an epic game for you. Here we see our Progamer-Gladiator of the week, mouzHasu, spawning here in the upper left starting position of Tal'Darim Altar, the biggest map in the entire map pool, I do believe, versus the fearsome Zerg player Xlord, fighting for Meteor Makers. That's what his tag entails, and quite a fearsome player. I believe he has a Warcraft 3 background, as so many other pros up there. For example, TSL 3 winner, Thor Sane, the Muslim, many others managed to make the transition for Warcraft 3 very well, and he's definitely one of them. And I have been told from secure sources that not only are both of these players German, as you can see here in the chat, but this game is definitely epic beyond compare. Personally, I do believe that Protoss versus Zerg lends itself to the sort of unit composition, battles, tactics and shenanigans that makes truly epic things come alive. Here we see what looks like a forward fast expansion coming out of mouzHasu fairly quickly. Meanwhile, Xlord has his Overlord scouting the wrong way, so he will not be knowing where mouzHasu is right away. And it seems like they're all very much intent on droning up and economy. Here we see a spawning pool going down for Xlord, whereas the Forge here comes down for mouzHasu. He is not too risky in this regard. Had he been completely balls out crazy, he would have placed his Nexus right after having put down his pylon, but now he goes Forge first. We'll have to see if he puts down a cannon, or even a gateway and a cannon first and then Nexus, or something that will give him a stronger economy early, but more risk as well. Risk of having Zerglings up in his base all the sooner. Here we see that won't quite happen yet. The expansion going down for Xlord, and that should enable mouzHasu to place his own Nexus right away should he want to. Xlord, I don't know too much about him. I must say I've seen him on several tournaments, on many other casts by famous YouTube players, but his Liquipedia page is terribly empty. mouzHasu, of course, is the 4th place winner of the Team Liquid Star League, and he took out so many famous names on his way there before being stopped in his tracks by Naniva and then Empire Cass, who took the 3rd place. But he took out fellow teammate Morrow, even Boxer, as well as Huck, and several others in his way up there. And in his Gladiator of the week here at the GGvision Colosseum, he's definitely shown us some true testament of skill, now having placed his Nexus followed by a cannon and a gateway. This is classic Brood War style, by the way. This is a technique perfected in the good old days, and this is how you secure a secure but fast expansion as a Protoss player. Depending on your scouting and your risk assessment, you can go ahead with the Nexus very fast, or be more safe, place a cannon and a gateway which works as a wall before, depending on the situation. Now we should see a Zealot coming out here fairly quickly, I would imagine, or if you'll go for a Sentry or a Stalker even, again depending on the risk assessment. We see Xlord not wanting to put on any early pressure as such, but much rather taking all the 4, at least 3 of them so far, Salnaga watchtowers around here, which is of course very good. It gives him some early map control and will keep him very well aware of any proxy pylons or other shenanigans from our Protoss player mouzHasu. And metabolic boost, speed upgrade for the Zerglings being upgraded right now, but he has kept his drones in gas, and this is something that you do not always see. More often than not, Zerg players choose to only mine 100 in order to get that quick speed upgrade, but here he clearly has some quicker tech in mind, so we'll just have to see what comes out of it. But here we see an interesting thing from mouzHasu, going for a quick Stargate. This will of course enable him to get Phoenix or more, probably Void Rays out very fast for economy harassment, Overlords, Queens, drones, especially if backed up by Phoenix later on. That will give him some early harassment power. And here we see a Sentry coming out. This is of course a defensive measure. It will enable him to force field away Zerglings and do a little light poking with his 6 damage weapon here, should Xlord do some early sieging. Meanwhile, Xlord is no stranger to getting drones, having 35 drones already, keeping himself even with mouzHasu and anticipating mouzHasu's move. He of course does not actually know this, though he might in a moment, but he anticipates it, getting a spore crawler and getting another one here in his main base. So that will give him decent protection combined with the queens against this Void Ray harassment, but you can be very surgical with Void Rays, and here the one comes out, you probably take down this Overlord immediately, and a very skilled Protoss player can cause a lot of havoc despite Spore Crawlers being all over the place. Phoenix following that Void Ray, so he will definitely be taking air control early, and this will probably negate Mutalisk use for the Zerg player throughout the entire game. And now he's actually in a supply blocked situation here because of that Overlord being sniped. Not good at all. Going ahead with melee upgrades for his ground units already. That's of course one benefit of getting an early evolution chamber to get the Spore Crawler. You can get ahead with your upgrades, but now we see drones being targeted, one going down, but taking quite a lot of damage. These Void Rays are very frail, and double queens at an expansion will pretty much negate that. So we'll just have to see what comes out of mouzHasu next. Meanwhile, Lair is on the way, and a second evolution chamber as well. So Xlord, he's an upgrade man, and I do appreciate that. Upgrades wins wars. Getting a Baneling nest as well is always a good idea. And we'll just have to see what comes out next. A second expansion already being planted, so upgrade man and expansion based. Sounds like the kind of Zerg player I love, but already 4 Phoenix out for our Gladiator of the Week mouzHasu. Meanwhile, Infestation Pit and Overlord speed upgrade coming out for Xlord. 1 drone, 2 drones going down, 3 drones, and third Spore Crawler being constructed already. These Phoenix can cause so much havoc, and here we see a Spore Crawler being planted. This could, now there are 5 Phoenix actually. This will definitely keep Xlord back in his base for quite some time. That's 5 drones, another Overlord perhaps being sniped, 6 drones, going for the gas ones first, 7 drones. And this is quite effective harassment, I must say. But we remember that game where mouzHasu played against Morrow a couple of days ago, and there he made also very successful Phoenix harassment, killing huge amounts of drones. But still, Morrow just pumped out more and managed to get ahead nevertheless. We see now Ventral Sacks, that is of course drop capability for the Overlords being upgraded, as well as melee weapons level 2 already underway, along with armor and Baneling speed. Meanwhile, he's breaking down the Cybernetics core in order to get out. Usually they break down the warp gate. Never mind that. We see a robotics bay being constructed, as well as 3 more gateways. So Colossi and Gateway army on the way, but he's still adding on to his Phoenix count. These are now 7 Phoenix, and whatever comes in their way will be lifted up and killed. But this is of course quite a heavy commitment to air, and these planes are frail. Of course mouzHasu is a very adept user of these units, but still he's investing a lot into this army. It needs to work, and had he positioned it over here, he would probably won the game right now, because negating a huge drop like this would be an enormous lead. Here we see mouzHasu going for an expansion of his own, fortifying here with gateways perhaps. And if Xlord can drop this at a convenient moment, he can put himself in a very commanding situation. Thermal Lance upgrade now underway for mouzHasu. 1 Colossi out already, I do believe. No, it's on the way though. And the gateway wall is coming up, but these Zerglings, there are no Banelings inside these Overlords, will potentially be able to kill this Nexus, but 1 Colossi can make all the difference. And the sentries are being targeted. No force fields or guardian shields yet. These Zerglings bravely retreat into the heart of mouzHasu's base. They might be able to poke some holes into these buildings, but I don't believe that they would actually inflict any serious damage. He's now very well aware though of the gateway count and the fact that mouzHasu's got 2 Stargates. So here we see mouzHasu punishing Xlord for having his Overlords all over the place. Meanwhile, Xlord go ahead with the Neural Parasite. That's of course an excellent counter to Colossus play, and he also upgraded Burrow for his units. I always like to see that. That's of course an effective way of countering Phoenix harassment. You can burrow your workers, and there's seldom an observer around. And again, referring to that Morrow versus Hasu game we saw a couple of days ago, we saw Morrow being able to use Neural Parasite on one Templar at one instant, side-storming itself. That was very beautiful, something we don't see that often, but always a nice thing here. And the Infestors now burrowing away. If they can fungal growth Phoenix, they can definitely pin them down with infested Terrans coming up to kill them from underneath. Xlord, being definitely a Zerg player of my own heart, is now double expanding like a boss. The Phoenix will never be able to keep up with the entire Zerg swarm if it spreads like a plague. Meanwhile, we see Blink upgrade and armor now coming out for mouzHasu, who's already got one attack upgrade. Xlord is not far behind, getting his own armor level 2 upgrade on the way. So now we see them having one attack there, and Xlord spreading like a plague, having a macro hatchery here at his natural already, and surely not far away from Hive either. I'm sure he'll go there quite soon. Of course, he is almost complete with it, that's what I mean. And here we see a bunch of Zerglings being trapped by masterful force fields. A bit overkill perhaps, but it's always nice to squish and burn. And looking again at the units tab, we see now 2 Colossus, even though mouzHasu is known to prefer Templars. That's what he's been saying. 3 Colossus, 8 Stalkers, 7 Sentries still alive, 4 Sentries and 2 handsome Zealots thrown in for good measure, versus the 76 Zerglings of Xlord with 7 Infestors and 4 Queens. I wouldn't be surprised if he used these Queens offensively in a very destructive manner. And obviously we'll probably see more drop action coming out of him as well. Ultralisk Cavern now on the way, and this looks like a very interesting game that will definitely showcase these players' skill to the utmost level. Here we see now Phoenix being able to take down so many Infestors, but they are fungal growth building as a sort of sweet kiss goodbye. But that's a very costly thing, and if you can use your Phoenix in this way to back up your ground army, you can definitely take down important units like these spellcasters. You can even lift up Ultralisks for a short while. Again, a fungal growth. Soon these will pop from the fungal growths alone. There we see one go, and these force field wall preventing the Zerglings from attacking, but very nice use of fungal growth to counter that. But now we see Banelings. Those were beautiful force fields, but even more beautiful Neural Parasites, negating 2 Colossi instantly, and fungal growthing them all the way to hell. Xlord truly knows what he's doing with these Infestors, using all of their abilities to the utmost capacity. But we have 3 Colossi and a whole bunch of fungal growth Stalkers now being pinned down by Zerglings up in the natural expansion of Xlord. And the Phoenix are continuing to cause havoc, being fungal growth in return. The Infestor Pit going down, a 4th Colossi now joining the fray, and perhaps another fungal growth. Yes, indeed, we see it, but he's running out of Zerglings. He needs more and more meat here into the grinder that is mouzHasu. This is still an undecided battle, ladies and gentlemen. The Protoss army is being diminished, but these Infestors are being mismicroed, dying needlessly. But it seems like mouzHasu is forced to retreat, having lost all of his Colossi. 88 drones still standing, and it seems like there might have been a drop here, or just some nasty creep being dropped for good measure. 88 drones versus the 95 probes. That looks like overkill to me for our Protoss player. Again at the production tab, Psystorm being nearly finished, and Ultralisks on the way, 7 of them being on the way. Gateways being added like there's no tomorrow for mouzHasu, and producing Colossi. It seems like we'll be having a full-featured set of armies for both players. Another infestation pit going down, having not yet saturated this base, and this one is hardly filled either, defending it quite well. So economy-wise, mouzHasu is almost depleted here. It's got a fully mining base here, and is now planting this one. Xlord will have the advantage when he saturates his bases for a while here, but this map has so many expansions, so it can go on for an eternity, and of course we love to see that. Here the completely Zergling-based army of Xlord is continuing to take down whatever he can. I'm sure he should add further melee and armor upgrades to his army, because he really needs all the advantage he can get. This Protoss Death Ball is very fearsome, and again, fungal growth pinning down the units. This is exactly what this spell is supposed to be used for, but here we see the hallmark of mouzHasu. Psi Storms, surgically almost cutting these ultras well, in half, rather dicing them, I'd say. They are all quite damaged, only one in green, and that is the beauty of a fully functioning and featured Protoss army. That fungal growth usage, that is not meant to kill, but rather to pin back units that would otherwise blink or just walk on its long dangling legs away from battle. It's beautiful use, but Psi Storms being used as some sort of pointy and scratchy force fields are just negating the Zerg units from connecting. But look at this plethora of banelings now being loaded up. This is ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. 44 banelings, 9 ultralisks, and still a whole bunch of Zerglings to boot. Only 2 infestors now, though. If he can connect with this army, Xlord will have the game, and this is as epic as it gets. Looking at the Protoss army before the battle ensues, 1 Immortal for good measure, that's always good against Ultralisks, 4 Archons, 2 Void Rays, they will also do very nicely, 2 Colossi, 12 Stalkers, 1 Phoenix, the only one left alive, and 3 Templars. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, this could get messy. Colossi clashing in, Ultralisk just tanking damage like bosses, fungal growth, but will these Baneling bombs be able to drop? It does seem like it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a green goo pile ball of death. I don't even have words for how gruesome this is. Yet somehow, it seems like all the Banelings were dropped and there's still a Protoss army left standing. This comes down to the little things, ladies and gentlemen. A lesser Protoss player would not have microed away to avoid the Baneling kills, but if you just retreat, if you just withdraw your troops, the Ultralisks will be able to connect and kill you nevertheless. That was beautifully microed by our Gladiator of the Week, mouzHasu. And these Overlords really pray that that remaining Phoenix, if it's still alive, won't find them. And now we see Xlord still not being out of the game by any means, getting his bases saturated, and of course mouzHasu is having done the same, and is definitely extending his advantage. I would put him in the lead, but not by a far amount. However, the map control and the superior mobility of Zerg that can use these quick Zerglings very effectively can definitely take down such expansions if the Protoss Death Ball is not around to protect it. But this is a Death Ball, a 200-200 maxed army. Now, this is not the case right now, but we've seen many Protoss players leaving his army at like 190 in order to warp in reinforcements in the back should drops occur, but that obviously won't be the case right now. A burrowed infestor being able to fungal growth these forces, but these are too few Banelings and Zerglings. Seems like Xlord chose to forego his Ultralisk, now going for Greater Spire instead, and favoring a much heavier infestor count, having 13 of them again, 18 Banelings, and well, that's a lot more right now. 62 Zerglings, many of them having been made into Banelings just a second ago. Heavy infestor based play. And here that drop that I was talking about is now occurring. He is forced to retreat with much of his forces, and even taking down some pylons. But this attack did very little damage, but it forced the Death Ball to reposition, which enables him to come in here with his skirmish Zergling force, and should be able to take down this Nexus if he's quick about it. And here we can see Hasu being a masterful tactician, might be able to actually save this Nexus. It's down to the wire, really. I think, yes, he will be able to save it, but that was very close. Again, a less good Protoss player would not have the wherewithal to be able to move back and forth with such ease. He would have lost more building in his base had he been too scared to move out from his expansion, and vice versa. So again, that puts... whoa! Lucky Baneling connection there, but very nice for Xlord. But he's still definitely behind in this game right now, but not by much. He's got the economy to back it up. 84 drones to 90 probes. Very nice. And now going ahead with those melee weapons, and meanwhile looking at the upgrades of mouzHasu. 3 attack and 1 armor. Some banelings needlessly being killed while Hasu takes another expansion. Going ahead with his shields and further armor upgrades. We see the Zerg being on the way to getting fully upgraded melee wise, getting the corruptors that will be turned into broodlords shortly. Of course, broodlords would be a very nice addition to this army, and the Ultralist did not quite do the job, but he can always tech switch back and forth. Looking here again, another drop. This time I'm sure it involves more banelings, perhaps. No, it looks pretty Zergling based. And we'll just have to see what he can do, because again, look at this force. This is what really matters. These infestors are very vulnerable should they get caught in the open, but it all comes down to what he can do with this force. And now perhaps, yes, Fungal Grove, oh, nice burrow, no observer around. And here we see a bit of miss micro, perhaps a lost opportunity, but he will be able to get this Nexus, ladies and gentlemen. Xlord is back in the game, and yes, he lost a lot of banelings there, but he took down the only currently fully mining base while destroying the production facilities of mouzHasu. Xlord, I like this guy. He can truly play Zerg and use his disadvantage to an advantage. The superior army and the stronger death ball of the Protoss, that's just an unnegotiable fact. So hit him where he's soft, hit him where he cannot be. Now taking down another gateway, perhaps these robotics base and Twilight Council will fall as well, whilst negating this other expansion and even burrowing some Zerglings here just to add insult to future injury. Taking down further Stalkers. mouzHasu seems like he is a bit of losing it right here, having lost his entire main base to Zerglings only, and coming in again with more Zerglings. We'll be able to cancel this Nexus, perhaps. No, probably not. But anyhow, completely splitting mouzHasu's attention. As you can see, Xlord has not been attacked in his base since that early skirmish, and is now being able to fully saturate all of here. He could take 2 more bases if he wanted to easily, and this base will not go up anytime soon. This one just getting ready. mouzHasu is now distance mining. This contingent Zerglings force still being up here, should be able to take down this Stargate if he wants to, perhaps the Dark Shrine and further warp gates. Of course, mouzHasu is a Gladiator of the week, but I'm glad to see that a Zerg player can truly stick it to him in a way that is both ballsy and stellar tactical play. This is guerrilla warfare at its very best. So many production facilities has gone down for mouzHasu, and he's forced to move his entire army around all the time. This base now being completely mined out, and these gateways are very susceptible to damage. He doesn't have that many gateways left. Looking at the production tab, they're both pretty much maxed, but as a true baller, he goes for 2 hatcheries instead, does Xlord. When you can't build units, build more hatcheries. Income-wise, they're both earning quite a lot of money still, this base having just gone up, being very well saturated. 78 probes to 87 drones, and he should be able to scout this. Does he know about it? He doesn't, but he should definitely have it in the back of his mind. Now this huge force, maxed out Protoss army, is forced to play defensive. How are we doing with those broodlords? 9 of them out right now. Now of course mouzHasu will counter with his own guerrilla warfare. Dark Templars, I don't know if it's got Spore Crawlers or Overseers up. I don't believe so. No, this could definitely cut him apart very easily. I don't know if you watched the recent NASL game between OGSNC and mouzHasu, and here we see the Dark Templars clashing, banelings being warped. He should be able to counter this with an Overseer pretty quickly, but in a current game there in the NASL, OGSNC managed to turn the tide of battle and take a game from mouzHasu just by walking in with 2 Dark Templars in his base when OGSNC was actually far behind, taking the win in that game. Now mouzHasu is countering his mounting his counter-offensive is what I'm trying to say, and we'll be able to take down this expansion no problem. The question is, can Xlord sort of negate this attack by one of his own? It leaves this 1 mining expansion of mouzHasu very open, and if he can somehow escape with these drones, I don't think there's an observer around. I might be wrong though. No, I see no observer here on the units tab, which means that these drones, which are of course far more precious than the actual buildings, can survive and be repositioned to any other base, even though this one went down unceremoniously to a single DT. DTs can turn the tide of any battle. Xlord is still very much in the game, as well, 10 Broodlords and 10 Infestors would argue. If you got that around, you are very much still in the game, but beautiful feedbacks from these stray High Templars killing 3 Infestors instantly. But it all comes down to what happens next. The Protoss Death Ball is back in the game, and here we see the drones of Xlord transitioning somewhere. We will definitely be seeing more Dark Templar action out of mouzHasu. That is one way of keeping some resemblance of map control alive. And it seems like it's drawing near to somewhat of a final battle, ladies and gentlemen. 165 supplied Zerg army consisting of 20 Banelings, 7 Infestors, 10 Broodlords, 57 Zerglings, and a whole bunch of Protoss units. Psystorm, Banelingu, Psystormu, but the Broodlords, they are what make the difference. They can take so much damage. See how the Psystorms barely scratch the gooey surface of them, and now mouzHasu is in full retreat. Now Xlord can macro up, he can take another base. I believe he's doing just that. No, he's actually just piling goo over there. Anyhow, Fungal Growth pinning down further units, adding further insult to that injury, and Infested Terrans will be able to take down these Void Rays if the Fungal Growth didn't do it before them. I believe that Xlord might have this, but mouzHasu, he is a super dude and he's got more supply. He can still take this game, and currently Xlord isn't mining. He should definitely do something about that. If he's got any income, he doesn't. So it all comes down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen, who will take this game. I'm honestly not sure. 10 Broodlords in the air would definitely have a lot to say about it for Xlord's case, and now taking down whatever is left here, but it really doesn't matter. He's still got production facilities and he's got an income. He's got so much in the bank. Xlord really needs to re-expand in order to give himself a way out of this attack should it not work. He is currently not mining anything. From having been in a very favorable economic situation, he has now put himself in a non-existent one, and as you see here, this looks like a bunch of ants, and that is of course very indicative of the Zerg is all about, but he should put a hatchery there, and these Zerglings having effectively negated any expansion attempts, but now Overlords are going down. But still, it's now anyone's game. I think Xlord can definitely come into a situation of a superior advantage, as so much has been lost infrastructure-wise for our Gladiator of the Week mouzHasu, being 313 upgraded right now. Having another look at the units tab, we still see those 10 Broodlords in the air and 6 Infestors, 4 Archons, 7 Deadly Dark Templars, 27 Stalkers, 1 Phoenix still alive from that early skirmish, and 6 High Templars, 3 Colossus thrown in there for good measure. And it seems like they're both stalling. All of them want that the next, both of them know that the next engagement will determine the outcome of this battle. The Baneling number is desperately low, only 7 of them. That will hardly scratch the paint on those Protoss units. So it all comes down to Infestor and Broodlord play, and that is not the ideal unit composition at all. You do want more fodder, you do want more ground units that can connect, because these Broodlords, while flying fortresses, they are susceptible to Stalkers backed up with Psystorms, so you do want to have fodder in the way there, and now wasting a Baneling or 2, but now we see feedbacks, and it seems like we have a bit of an exchange coming in here. Might be able to take down some Protoss units here before the big blob arrives, and even feedbacking the Overseer. That's of course put in there to counter the Dark Templars, 6 of them still alive, but here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Broodlords are starting to do their thing, and the blinkage will definitely put mouzHasu in a favorable position, and a Psystorm on that, taking down those Broodlords like sitting ducks, and Xlord is forced to GG. Ladies and gentlemen, that was one of the more epic-est Protoss vs Zerg I've seen in a long time, and here we even see the impact of a Psystorm continue to tickle that Broodlord's belly, and that's just indicative of how evil it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure to cast you on this Friday. Tomorrow there will be the final video of our Gladiator of the Week, mouzHasu, then facing another opponent. I can tell you as much as it will be a Terran, and it will be great. And I will be having a guest on the show that will commentate with me and add further awesomeness to the game, and I do believe you will all be quite familiar with him. So do stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching. If you liked it, feel free to consider subscribing it. I'm uploading a new video every day, and again, thanks for stopping by. I'm Sebastian Sjöberg. GG for now.
Adjutant online.